As always, bienvenidos, welcome to Spain on a Fork. Today, we have another great recipe. We're making a very classic and traditional dish from Spain. We're talking a Spanish chickpea stew with vegetables. This dish is known here in Spain as un guisado de garbanzos. And let me tell you, it's one of those dishes that when you take that first bite, it instantly transports you to Spain because it has so many great Spanish flavors. But the best part, it's very easy to make, made with very simple, everyday Spanish ingredients, and it comes together in just 40 minutes. You know, in the difficult times we're living in right now, and with winter fast approaching, these are the kind of dishes you should be eating. Why? Because they're loaded with protein and fiber, vitamins and minerals, truly a dish that nourishes the body and soul. Let's begin by grabbing a jar of cooked chickpeas, adding it into a sieve, and rinsing them under some cold running water. Now the size of this jar is 400 grams, which is about 20 ounces or 2 cups of cooked chickpeas. For the next ingredient, I'm going to cut one large Yukon Gold potato into pieces that are about ½ inch thick. I always like to cut the potato into 4 evenly sized quarters. Cut each quarter into 3 pieces. And then chop it into ½ inch pieces. Moving on, I'm going to roughly chop half of a green bell pepper. I always like to cut off the tip and then cut around the bell pepper. That way there's no seeds involved. Cut each piece of the bell pepper in half into thin strips and then roughly chop it. And do the exact same thing with half of a red bell pepper. And reserved, I also have half an onion that I finely diced. This equals a little over a quarter cup of diced onions and 4 cloves of garlic that I finely minced. All right, let's start cooking up our chickpea stew. I'm gonna grab a stock pot, heat it with a medium to medium-high heat, and add in a quarter cup of extra virgin olive oil. After heating the olive oil between 90 seconds to 2 minutes, I'm gonna add in the diced onions and the minced garlic. And mix the ingredients around with that extra virgin olive oil. Like I always tell you, when you're cooking onions and garlic, you wanna mix them continuously, that way they don't burn and they all cook evenly. About 2 minutes after adding the onions and the garlic into the pan, and those onions are starting to develop a translucent color, you don't want to overcook them. I'm going to add in the chopped green bell pepper and the chopped red bell pepper. And once again, continue to mix these ingredients around with that extra virgin olive oil. About 5 minutes after adding the bell peppers into the pan and they're nice and soft, you don't have to brown them. I'm going to add in the pieces of potato, our drained chickpeas, and season everything with 1 teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, ½ a teaspoon of dried thyme, a pinch of sea salt, and some freshly cracked black pepper. And gently mix this all together, that way those seasonings are evenly mixed around. Once everything's well mixed, I'm going to pour in some cold water into the stock pot. You want to go to just above the ingredients, which is exactly 3 cups in my case. We'll add in a ¼ teaspoon of saffron threads, and we'll give it a quick mix. Now the saffron I'm using to make this Spanish chickpea stew is from Golden Saffron. This is truly some of the highest quality saffron in the market, and it has such an incredible flavor. You'll find a link where you can get some in the description box below. Once the water comes to a boil, I'm going to place a lid on the stock pot and lower the fire to a low-medium heat. And we're going to simmer this for about 20 minutes. This is enough time for all these flavors to come together and for those potatoes to be perfectly cooked. After about 20 minutes, I'm going to remove the lid from the stock pot And look how beautiful this turned out, and the aromas coming out of it are absolutely delicious. You know, you can always tell if your potatoes are perfectly cooked. You just pierce one with a toothpick, and if it easily goes in, the potatoes are ready to go. I'm gonna remove the stock pot from the heat, transfer some of the stew into a shallow bowl, and sprinkle it with some freshly chopped parsley. Check it out, our Spanish guisado de garbanzos is done. Look how delicious this turned out. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. I seriously cannot wait to try this stew because it has such an incredible aroma coming out of it. Here we go. That's so good. First things first, the flavors of this stew, they take me to like my early childhood. My mother made a stew with chickpeas that tastes exactly like this. It's so wonderful. Like I told you guys earlier, make this is gonna instantly transfer you to Spain. It has so many great Spanish flavors, and you saw it. Easy to make, very simple ingredients, done in 40 minutes, very healthy. The kind of food you need to be eating. It's gonna give you a beautiful lift of goodness. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, Tommy Williams and the Stewix family. Once again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you're not with me on Patreon, consider becoming one. It helps with ingredients and equipment to continue making videos like this. You'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego.